everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda and I do nursing, lifestyle, and DIY videos. Today we're going to talk about a subject that no one really prepared me for. They kind of prepare you for in nursing school, but not really. We're going to talk about dealing with death. Dealing with death as it pertains to patients in your care, patients on the unit, and just my 5 tips on how I've dealt with it. And so if you're interested or if you'd like to learn my 5 tips, just keep watching. Pretty early on, I dealt with patient death. It was a lot. I think what even made it worse was that I had to chart on it for an additional 3 hours. So as a new grad, first of all, they don't want you doing overtime, but I also had to chart on this incident for a very long time, and so I had to rehash everything that went on, and it was just a very emotional event. And recently, on Friday, we had a patient that just wasn't doing well, and I just felt my heart tug for her, and so I decided that I would make this video because I feel that a lot of people don't know how to deal with death in general, but also just nurses. You know, we're human beings, we're taking care of these people, and we're supposed to be able to keep them alive and bring them back to better health. And when you can't do that, it can be very difficult. I do want to say that I'm in my car. I just left church, so I thought this would be a fantastic video to do right now. Feeling very inspired and very just really inspired and really empowered to talk about this right now. And so if I look down, I'm looking at my notes that I took, and so let's just get started. Take a moment. I think a lot of people don't think to take a moment. I know the floor is hectic, you're doing things if you have to do debriefing or anything like that, but sometimes you need a moment. So tell your charge nurse, I need to take a moment. Step off the unit, go into the restroom, do whatever it is that you need to do in order to feel like you have just readjusted, you've realigned, or you can just now move forward with all of the charting and everything that you have to deal with. Take a moment, compose yourself. I know that I was very emotional the first time I had to deal with patient death, and taking that moment to compose yourself, to step aside, to gather yourself, helps you to think clearly and helps you be of better use to your other patients, because you still have other patients to take care of, and the family members of that patient. My hospital has chaplain services, and for many different types of religion and beliefs. Those services should not just be for the patients. You should be able to utilize those services too. So think about speaking to a chaplain, scheduling some time to talk to them. You may not be able to do it that same shift. You might have to do it on your next shift or come back on your off time, but take a moment to use those chaplain services. If you just need to word vomit, if you just need to get it all out and have somebody listen to you, if you want somebody to actually pray for you or anything like that, utilize those services. Those services are there for everyone in the hospital, and you should utilize them. Don't play the blame game. This is definitely something that I still do in general, but also in those moments. Know that you did what you could. To the best of your abilities, you were the best nurse in that moment. Know that you did what you could and that you provided that patient with the care that they needed. And stand firm in that, because you can do the shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know, until the cows come home. But if the patient has passed away, that's not going to bring them back. So know that you did the best that you could with what you knew, with the resources that you had, that your team did the best that they could. You'll most likely have to chart on it, and you might have to have a debriefing. So again, don't play the blame game, because you're going to have to rehash those moments, right? Rehash them, and you don't need that stress and that guilt on you, because it's not going to be productive for the rest of your shift and for your growth. And so the key is use it as a teachable moment for yourself. Realize, you know, where you can do some extra education on. You know, what were the key signs that you saw but maybe didn't speak up on because you're a new grad, things like that. Use it as a teachable moment to advocate for your patient and to advocate for the services that you need, and to go hard for the things that you need to make sure that you're taking, you know, superb care of your patients. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to ask for things that you know that you need for particular patients, and utilize your network at the hospital so that you don't have to deal with this, hopefully, for some time again. Let me go back to that. Also, that it should make you vigilant, but it shouldn't make you paranoid, because you'll be scared. Every little thing will scare you. You'll call the doctor on every little thing, and that's not necessary. Use these teachable moments, learn what you need, and apply that to the next patient. Be more vigilant, but don't allow it to make you paranoid, because the paranoid nurse won't get the calls back from the doctors and won't get the help from the other nurses. We all know. So just do your best. For me, prayer really helps. Praying in the situation, praying after the situation, praying before I go to work that I'm the best that I can be for my patients. It centers me, it calms me, it gives me peace. And so prayer works for me. And give it a try if that's something, if you believe that prayer is something that can be beneficial. Okay. The last thing that I have that I think is something that we all need to practice, everybody, not just nurses, but especially nurses, is self-care. If you don't have a self-care routine, then I suggest that you get one, or try to figure out what would be best for you, because you're going to be stressed out. It's going to cause you, you know, slight anxiety. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable. So, you know, learning how to decompress when you get home is definitely something that you should put into your routine. Some people have families, right? So as soon as you walk in the door, you know, children are calling you, families calling on you. You know, maybe let them know, I need 5 to 10 minutes when I walk through the door to decompress, to deal with this, because, you know, you deal with a lot. Nurses deal with a lot. They have to take on a lot, but you shouldn't take it home with you. So when you get home, a moment to decompress. If that means that mommy gets home and she sits in her car, daddy gets home and he sits in his car for 10 minutes, don't bug me. That's what that means. If you don't have a self-care routine, construct one, because there are going to be times when you're stressed out. There's going to be times when patients go bad. There's going to be times when your boss, you know, gets on your nerves. But for this purpose, you know, we're talking about dealing with death. And so journaling, counseling, if it affected you that deeply, exercise. Let's say you love to cook and it makes you feel good and it soothes you. Maybe it's time to cook. You know, maybe it's time to quilt. Maybe it's time to crochet. Maybe it's time to go for a jog. Whatever helps you. Let that thing go off of you so that you can be the best nurse for the rest of your patients and the best nurse for the next day, because you got to go back to work, right? You got to go back to work. You got to go back taking care of people. You have to go back to, you know, being content and happy. And so having a method to deal with all of those emotions is extremely important. And so my suggestion is to, if you don't have a self-care routine, to get one. These are my 5 tips. My 5 tips on dealing with death. There are so many, right? There's so many different ways that people can do this. It's a combination of them. But those are the things that I do to help me deal with such a sensitive subject and such an emotionally draining task, or not task, but emotionally draining occurrence. And I hope that you can utilize those if you ever have to deal with that. You know, just utilize those things, and I hope that they help you. If you have any tips or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Share your story. Sometimes sharing the story and letting it out helps other people, and just, you know, a digital, you know, I got you, sis, I understand, I see you, and you did the best that you could, can mean a world of difference. So share your story, share your suggestions in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Video a thumbs up if you enjoy nursing videos. If you want me to talk about any other subjects, leave those suggestions in the comments below. And just give this video a thumbs up. It helps my channel when you do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.